In episode 6 of Irma Vep season 1, the future of Renee's series is in doubt following an enormous meltdown on set. While considering a new route for the vampires that might bring Mira and a character from her past together, Renee receives a visit from a ghost. Mira becomes more and more involved with her performance as Irma Vep throughout. The iconic scene in the original 1996 version of Olivier Assayas's Irma Vep, in which Maggie Cheung dons the catsuit and prowls through the corridors, balconies, and rooftops of her hotel, highlighted her feeling of exclusion from the entire production. She was dealing with the incompetence and creative inactivity of the French film industry, which was half a world away from the competence and verve of her native Hong Kong. Here she was, a stranger in a strange land. She takes on the role of Irma Vep as a way of dealing with the circumstance, partly to ease her loneliness and partially to find the creative fulfillment she isn't receiving on set. That has also been Mira's experience, however Renee, despite his fears and manic outbursts, feels more sincere affection for the undertaking than Jean-Pierre Laude did in the first movie. Mira always planned on using her time in Paris as an escape, both from the entertainment industry, which wants her to appear in soulless trash like Doomsday and a Silver Surfer with the genders reversed, and from her breakup with Laurie, which came after an equally traumatic breakup with Eamon. But in this miniseries, it hasn't just been one long scene where Mira wears the catsuit and goes around, rather, it has been an entire arc that has become stranger and more ethereal as it has progressed. In order to understand Mira as the physical manifestation of a spirit who is capable of stepping through walls and violating whatever expectations we might have of an established screen reality, Assayas is asking the viewer to do more than simply watch Mira engage in some off-duty role-playing. That is a huge cognitive leap, to be sure. Now that Mira as Irma has the ability to physically act like a ghost, can she steal necklaces or overhear people's intimate conversations? And neither Renee nor Jade look astonished when she merely appears in a room to speak with them. It appears to Assayas to be the logical progression for what has always been a ghost story. The first movie dealt with bringing back a silent serial from the teens, and the current television series is about bringing back the revival of the revival, with the ghosts of 1915 and 1996 now falling into the present. He believes it is important to question our preconceptions about what movies, even 8-hour serialized movies, can accomplish, especially in today's overly commercialized and dull culture. In that regard, the garden party that comes after Gottfried's final day on set is the pivotal scene in The Spectre. Gottfried has been a chaos agent since the time he got off a train in Scandinavia and demanded a refill on his crack supply, but one who has been quite helpful to the production. He's difficult to work with and says all the wrong things, but he's a pro who shows up on set and delivers, even the morning after he almost died from autoerotic asphyxiation. Amazingly, that interview he gave to the two web journalists has not surfaced. It's important to pay close attention to his entire monologue because it serves as the show's thesis. What brought me to cinema was a sense of freedom. Cinema was the Wild West, you know? You may forget it at times. Why are we making movies now? Who's willing to put their lives on the line for movies? We live in boring, dark, dull times. Where is the sense of adventure? Where's the mayhem? Where's the chaos? The industry has taken over cinema. Lawyers, big dollar franchises, platforms, you name it. But indie films, they are no better. They preach until you are sick of them. Cinema was for bad guys and bad girls. Like Musidora. Like rock and roll. Although making Mira appear in costume as a ghost afterwards is about as far as this Irma Vep has pushed the envelope, boring, dark, dull periods is correct. Granted, the very fact that an 8-episode miniseries based on a little-known French cult favorite from the middle of the 1990s exists at all is unlikely, bold, and a strong illustration of how the current television landscape's focus on niche audiences has allowed for the development of shows that would have never found a home in the past. But Assayas isn't a natural bombastic. Although Renee does it in the original movie and has begun to do it in this episode, Assayas isn't the kind of director to slash up his own canvas. Instead, he can make movies about directors who do it. Irma Vep doesn't have a lot of narrative momentum for the penultimate episode of a series, which may be on purpose, but it manages to keep the stakes at the lowest of simmers. The only significant plot development is that Herman has assumed control of the project as director and has imposed his Herman-ness on a project that previously expressed Renee's quite distinct sensibility. Assayas' disdain for the drone and Steadicam shots Herman wants to use could supply enough energy to light a city block. The unfortunate reality is that Herman is currently giving producers what Renee could not, a steady hand, a commercial sensibility, and the confidence that he will cross the finish line. The intriguing aspect of this development is that Mira never desired it. Herman and Laurie were the whole reason she decided to work on a French TV show, and even if her relationship with Renee has been rocky, it has given her some inspiration. When Mira talks to Renee about the dark magic of cinema and her desire for him to complete the task toward the end of the episode, she appears to recognize that she has the capacity to make a difference. She must play the major role in the new Les Vampires because it is essentially a loss leader for a cosmetics firm that wants to hire her. She doesn't tend to be a demanding star. Regina or her agent usually handles that sort of grubby work for her. However, she has the power to turn this production around. She possesses the necessary black magic. I'm going to show these people today how to make a movie. Herman is very likely not an error there. Although this week's episode wasn't the funniest, the sequence in which Zoe hires a bondage consultant to help with a scenario in which Lily Flower is glued to a chair is hilarious. Zoe replies, "We met on the dark net." Before being told it's not that kind of servitude, the consultant demands to know who the dom and the sub are. When asked how extreme the scene is on a scale of 1 to 10, he replies dejectedly, 1. Everyone is happy with how much better the scene plays as a result of his tape technique. Exhilarating and a wonderful example of the risk Gottfried feels is missing in filmmaking is the Musidora memoir extract about the actress having to lay in front of a real moving train. Congratulations to Regina on securing her first feature at the age of 25. Do you know another filmmaker who started out at age 25? Orson Welles, a decent man with a lot of potential. Citizen Kane was the title of the film. The release of Goblin's Suspiria music on vinyl here will only help to further cement Asaya's status as one of cinema's most cool directors.